I call this meeting to order on Sunday, February 18th at 3:08 p.m. Is the clerk ready to take roll?
Yep.
Majority Party Leader Pelton?
Mm-mm.
Minority Party Leader Pelton? Member at Large, Idigula?
Here.
Majority Party Leader Cipher?
Here.
Senate President Ripken?
Here.
Member at Large Wentworth is not here, and then Senate President Pro Tempore Sacademara is here. With that, quorum has been established with 5 members present. Yeah, we can go ahead and call on the first applicant. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys today?
Pretty good. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go ahead and ask questions. All right. Can you do me a favor real quick and then state your name for the record?
Yes. My name's Annabella Vigna.
All right. And just to confirm, you are applying for the Open Information and Communications Committee seat?
Yes.
All right. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to go ahead and set a timer for 5 minutes. At the end of those 5 minutes, if you're still answering your general questions, we're going to go directly into your technical questions. Sound good?
Yes.
All right. Starting with, what is your motivation for applying?
My motivation for applying is to use my communication skills to convey information from the Senate to the student body. As a replacement senator from spring of 2023, one of the biggest barriers that I faced when I entered Senate was communication and having the necessary knowledge for me to understand what was really going on. So as in INC, I would love to create a system where we can educate replacement senators on what is the Senate, what skills you need to know, because it's a very awkward time for a senator to come into Senate right in the middle of the term and not really know what exactly is going on. So my motivation really for applying is to be able to foster communication not only within the Senate but also exteriorly, like to the student body. I also hope to bridge the gap between both caucuses and use our communication skills as a committee to really make it an engaging opportunity rather than a tense environment.
All right. What experience do you have that would make you a good fit for the position?
So throughout my time at UF, I have developed certain qualities that can contribute to this position through a variety of experiences. So I currently serve as a content chair for my sorority, curating engaging content that gives the holistic image of who we are as a chapter. I also serve as the outreach chair for the Women's Caucus, which has been a wonderful opportunity to work collaboratively with members of the other caucus to really express our passion for women's rights and also outreach to other student organizations. So as the outreach chair, I've not only been able to create this engaging content that lets the student body know what we are as a caucus, but also outreach to different student organizations about the Women's Caucus and create a coffee chat where we are able to meet with these leaders and student organizations. And I also currently serve as the Gators for Israel Campus Relations Coordinator, where I've collaborated with different leaders and organizations to educate them on the importance of the U.S.-Israeli relationship.
All right. What ideas do you have for the committee?
So I have a variety of ideas that I would love to implement in this position. One of the ideas that I had was create a My Why Senate feature where we feature different members of Senate and different caucuses on why they're so passionate about Senate. I would also love to create a Senate Remind, which would kind of piggyback off of Senator Wentworth's idea of creating a group chat for us, where INC would basically communicate all of the events we are planning or any reminders. Hey, Senate is at 7 today. Just have a communication platform because email can be a little bit difficult for people to keep up with. And then I would also love to collaborate with other committees such as the Rules and Ethics to create infographics and create a calendar for constituency because that's also something that can get lost. You have to maintain yourself active on Instagrams and stuff. So instead of just always scrolling through Instagram, I would just love to create a calendar where everybody can know what's going on for the month. And then lastly, another one of my ideas is create a How to Senate series for Instagram where different senators discuss like Robert's rules, what legislation we're planning on passing, what the 3 branches of student government are. So different ideas that could really inform the student body, which would also enhance the whole replacement senator issue where they may not know what exactly is going on.
Okay. We're going to move into your technical questions now. Starting off with, what are the events that the Information and Communications Committee is supposed to plan for each semester?
So the Information and Communication Committee plans the new senator orientation, which has to be held before the second Senate meeting after election results are verified, and Senate retreat, which has to be held 2 weeks before final exams.
Okay. And how long does the committee have to post an open seat?
24 hours.
Okay. Well, that's all the questions we have for you. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you so much. I do have some
right.
idea sheets if you guys just want to keep them.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Oh,
so cute.
Thank you so much. And then here we go.
Here.
Thank you
All right.
guys.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Point of information. How many open IMC seats are there?
I believe there's 2.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Blue,
Huh?
can you send me the technicals, like the sheet,
The what?
the technicals, like the questions you asked? Thank you.
Okay. Next, we've got Arturo. Someone wants to bring them in. Hello.
Good afternoon.
All right. Hello. Can you do me a favor and state your name for the record?
Senator Arturo Zárate.
All right. And just to confirm, you're applying for the Open Information and Communications Committee seat? Okay. So the way this is going to work is we're going to set a timer for 5 minutes. At the end of those 5 minutes, if you're still answering your general questions, we're going to go and transition directly into your technical question. Sounds good?
Yeah.
All right. Your time will begin as soon as you start answering the first question. What is your motivation for applying?
So, my motivation for applying as a general theme has already been underscored. So, instead, what I wanted to hijack that question and propose several specific ways that I would like to see this committee changed. As I've spoken of before, I think that Instagram and social outreach is an extremely important measure that we're not taking advantage of. So, I want to increase the amount of story posts that we do. This would be for bills, this would be for any sort of thing that passes through the student senate. This could be expanded to cabinet, this could be expanded to a bunch of things. I previously spoke about student spotlights. As it stands, there have only been sort of pictures with a flavor text of student spotlights. Several people in here have gotten their own, and last week I proposed a video. I would like to build on that by saying that hopefully we could have the people spotlighted actually interact with people in the comments. This would be a place for directly engaging with constituents so that they can comment, so that they can actually see that the people that are representing them inside the chamber, millions of dollars, actually care about their concerns and actually see, like, directly chat with them. Not only does this increase our social media presence, but this also allows them to interact more and shows that we're open to any concerns that they might have. I have for the spotlights and Q&A that I would like to see done on live stories. I think that should be done at random in front of the Senate to ensure that there's no preference in the public eye. That should be done by the chair in order to make sure that whoever the ruling party at the time is does not have a sort of PR advantage. PR is extremely important in non-election times, and I think that this could be ensured by simply using a random generator. I don't know why I keep saying finally. I want to live stream Q&As with senators. We have a live stream function on Instagram. I think that with our hundreds of followers, we could have at least a couple questions where representatives could actually see and talk and when put under pressure, and this allows the student body to actually see how these people behave when put under pressure, when they're asked sort of difficult questions regarding their legislative impact, which really shows how these people have representative inside the chamber. Additionally, and I thought that this might be something that all of you are really interested in, I thought that cross posts with clubs and organizations would, especially when making bills that represents their community, might be something that we're interested in, especially a cross post with, for example, HSA for improvements to Casita. I believe that there was something recent like that passed in terms of cameras. We could cross post with HSA not only to drive up engagement within these communities, but to drive up engagement as a whole and showcase our legislative impact and hopefully be more accountable to our constituents. This would obviously not only be restricted to minority orgs, but anyone that has any stake in it. I would like to see a special form made for these people, for organizations to actually contact the INC chair directly. This would make it so that anyone can just sign up and we can see not only more community engagement, but more outreach from orgs telling the Senate what they want to have done. I also want to point out that this integrates very well with both the parties' agenda, as well as the recent You Belong Here week pushed by the wider Senate. Additionally, recently there was a Day in the Life post. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the word starting with a B and ending with Asian inside this building, but there was a Day in the Life video that I thought was really interesting. We could have the same sort of randomized selection and have that Day in the Life style thing mirrored, because I thought it was really cute and it really humanizes us to our constituents.
Okay. For your second question.
Yeah.
What experience do you have that would make you a good fit?
I have founded the Arcoiris program, which is a org that represents queer Latina students at the university. I have clerked for various committees. I take extreme interest in what the INC committee can do, as shown with some of my legislation, which will be heard in RNA pretty soon, I hope. And yeah, for the rest that I have already stated.
Okay. And what ideas do you have for the committee? In the 7 seconds.
I believe I've stated that already, and in respect for the committee's time.
Okay. All right. And then going into your technical questions, what are the events that the Information and Communications Committee is supposed to plan for each semester?
The Senate retreat, which must be done from the validation of election results up until 2 weeks before exam period, as well as the new Senate orientation, which is to be done no more than 2 Senate sessions after the validation of new elections.
All right. And then how long does the Information and Communications Committee have to post an open session?
30 bars.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. I believe next up. Bring him in.
Who's coming?
Marianne Enriquez.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. All right. Can you do me a favor, and then whenever you're ready, state your name for the record?
Yeah, Marianne Enriquez.
Okay. And just to confirm, you're applying for the Open Information and Communications Committee seat?
Yes.
Great. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. At the end of those 5 minutes, if you're still answering your general questions, we're going to go directly into your technical questions. Sound good?
Yes.
Your time will start as soon as you begin talking. What is your motivation for applying?
Okay, so my motivation for applying is just my deep desire to get more involved in student government. As I've joined Senate and other aspects of SG, I've always loved student government, but I've fallen more in love with it and low-key obsessed. So I just really want to get to know more people and get more involved and be more influential in the sense of I want to help when things are being done, and so I think a committee would be a great way to do that.
All right. Next is, what experience do you have that would make you a good fit?
Okay, so as far as INC, I am proud of my Instagram. That's like a really bad answer, I noticed. But I think that for social media, like, you need to have ideas in the sense of like, things to get people interested and feel like they know what's going on within the Senate. Like transparency, I know we all preach that, but like true transparency for students, just so that they're aware of like what's happening within the chamber. So I think that is something that should definitely be implemented via INC.
Okay. Next is, what ideas do you have for the INC committee?
I think that to make things a little bit more personal, we should have like a spotlight for senators, even if ultimately we can't get every single senator on there, and like alternating between caucuses, and obviously starting with like MPLs, because I think it's important that people know who you are, so that if necessary they would want to reach out to you, and then from there just like senators and other senators in general, just so that, again, like people, students that don't know anything about SG, like know what's happening to some extent and feel comfortable approaching each of you, both of you, etc.
All right. Now we're gonna go ahead and move into your technical questions, starting with, what events are the Information and Communications Committee supposed to plan for each semester?
The new senator orientation, which needs to happen 2 meetings after election results are validated, and the Senate retreat, which needs to happen within the start of the term to 14 days prior to the start of final exams.
Okay. And then how long does the committee have to post an open seat?
24 hours.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
You too. Well, I mean, like,
Next up is Annabelle Ingrassi.
I don't see her outside.
who is it? Ingrassi?
Yeah.
I know what she looks like. Do you want me to go look?
I can also go ahead and call if. Let's do one more look, and then if
Okay.
you want to do one more look, and then worst case, do you happen to have a phone number that I can call?
No.
Okay.
Is it precedence to call people if they don't show up?
I just don't want to have someone miss out on the opportunity to interview.
If people don't show up, people don't show up. I mean, unless they reach out and say.
Blake is nice.
Yeah,
Huh?
I see jolly old Blake outside. Who's that guy?
I've gotten no indication that they would like a phone interview, so I
They're
mean,
not out there.
We'll just move on.
all right, let's move on.
We just move on. What? Well, yeah, but I mean, if they don't show up, they don't show up.
Okay.
But yeah, they're obviously not in consideration for committee seats. What time
They-
was the interview supposed to start?
20. Oh no.
She's just
Yeah.
up there.
Okay.
Okay,
yeah.
and just out of clarification, she has a current sitting senator, right?
She is? I didn't
No.
know.
Oh,
Wait.
She
Oh,
is.
Annabella Ingrassi?
I'm
She
sure
is not
she
in Senate.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know if she did this last time where she applied for budget and INC as well.
Okay.
Yeah. That was like, and then she didn't come to the
All right.
interview.
Cool. Next, we've got Blake Cox.
Okay.
Dude, this is the one I've been waiting for.
You're gonna get a drum roll, right? All right, Blake, come on in. Nice to meet you.
This guy. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
All right, can you do me a favor and state your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Blake Cox, and the seat I'm applying for is the off-campus seat.
Okay.
What's your name?
So the way this is going to work is we're going to go in and set a timer for 5 minutes. At the end of those 5 minutes, if you're still answering your questions, your interview will go ahead and conclude. The timer will start as soon as you start answering your first question. Starting with, what is your motivation for applying?
All right, so my biggest motivation for applying, obviously, I did just leave. This might be the shortest retirement ever. Genuinely, Senate over summer was kind of a lot for me. It was a lot to handle. I'd been in Senate leadership for a while, and it was starting to drain on me. So I wanted to take a little bit of a step back, but I've kind of regained some of my energy, ready to come back and really attack some of the ideas I've been working on, or that I've wanted to work on. Specifically, one that I've seen recently is like a bipartisan issue that I know everyone would get behind is the mental health days, helping whatever senators are already involved in that, kind of picking up where I left off. In addition to helping anyone in the budget committee, the current budget chair, just aiding them with some of my expertise since I've served in that role in the past. I really just want to get back in it and keep working on some of the things that I was working on, just because I thought it would be too much, because I did start a new role recently, but it hasn't been too much, and I'd like to come back and kind of pick up where I started, because I do miss it a little bit.
All right. What experiences do you have that would make you a good fit?
My experience in my time in the Student Senate, I would say, makes me fairly qualified. I served for 2 years, one of which was for an off-campus constituency. I still live in the off-campus constituency, so I'm used to representing those constituents. I'm used to representing off-campus. Additionally, I served in Senate leadership before. I served as a party leader of a party that does not exist anymore. But I have served in Senate leadership before, and I've been very involved in Senate, which makes me believe that I'm fairly qualified for this role.
All right. And what ideas do you have? Let's see.
So I kind of touched on this earlier. I really want to get back into the mental health day thing, something that I had an idea of, and I think it's gained a lot of traction since I've been gone, and I kind of want to get back in and really push it along, help it out. Again, it's a bipartisan issue. I'm all about the bipartisanship. Additionally, I know the budget from the budget bill that I wrote, the summer budget, still hasn't completely passed. There's still some things that need to get through. Love to help get those through so that there is a budget. Additionally, this is a little bit less important than the other two, but I do really want an area on campus where students can fish. I'd love to work with rec sports. I think it's a cool idea, and I haven't really heard anything ever about it. It's because I was like, ooh, I have this idea, and it never really went anywhere. But I'd love to take it somewhere. And yeah, those are three of my biggest ideas. Additionally, it's nice that the chamber seems to be, I mean, again, I'm from the outside looking in, so I could be wrong. It seems to be a much more peaceful place, much less divisive, less scary, less, regardless, I'll be in less of a role where it is stressful. So I will be able to use more of my time and mental health towards initiatives and not self-preservation. So those are my biggest ideas.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in and interviewing. That concludes your interview.
Perfect. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, boy.
Have a great rest of your Sunday, everybody.
Bye.
I put down fairly qualified.
Next we have Matthew Bravo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so who's next? Is it time? Okay.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Okay. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Can you do me a favor and state your name for the record?
Sure. Matthew Bravo.
All right. And then you are applying for the open off-campus seat, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the way this is going to work is we're going to start a timer for 5 minutes. If you're still answering your general questions, at those 5 minutes, your interview will go ahead and conclude. All right?
Sure.
And that time will begin as soon as you begin speaking. Starting with, what is your motivation for applying?
My motivation for applying is really my grandmother. She had a lot of poor experiences with public servants and civil servants her whole life, whether that be through the immigration or healthcare system or just at her local library. So it was always one of those sort of things where I was drawn to public service, drawn to an opportunity to help others, and that's why I want to help my fellow Gators in the Senate.
Okay. Next up is, what experience do you have that would make you a good fit?
I've been in FLC, Freshman Leadership Council, Freshman Leadership Experience, sponsored by Student Government, Florida Cicerones, preview staffer. I think all that's led to my growth as a leader on campus. I've also been involved in some of the elections and political parties here, like Vision Party, being an ambassador last semester, and on campaign exec this semester. I think those have taught me the importance of representation, other community service opportunities such as Big Event, and being scholarship director of my fraternity, I think also added that.
All right. And what ideas do you have?
I think the biggest one is fixing the student org funding issue that's come up. I know a lot of student organization leaders, just from talking to them, don't like how it's on a first come, first served basis. So assembling some sort of case study or committee to solve that, I think would be one of my first prerogatives.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in. That's all the questions we've got for you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, thank you.
I believe that concludes all our interviews. So we can go ahead and move directly into deliberation on Annabella Vigna. And then we can set a time for 4 minutes.
Wait, that was easy.
Hmm?
That was easy.
Okay. Minority Party Leader, Alton.
I think that Senator Vigna is extremely qualified. I've seen all of the work. I mean, all the work that's come out of the Women's Caucus has been fantastic. Hearing that she has been responsible for a lot of the graphics is very impressive. I think she's done a really great job. It's exactly what I intended when I passed the SMO Act, was to see what's happening with that caucus and all the other ones, which is just fantastic. She's certainly qualified. I am seeing a lot of the same ideas. I know that she keeps coming in and applying, and I really appreciate that, but there's nothing different, and we've already sort of moved to table her in the past for the same reason, and nothing new has been brought. So I'm a little bit concerned about that, but that does not, again, I don't want that to sort of take precedence over, again, a lot of the impressive work I've seen in the caucus. I think it's great. So nothing negative against Senator Vigna. I think she's wonderful. I just, again, would like to see new ideas. It's something we keep harping on, and it's really important that we keep that precedence in place.
All right, Majority Party Leader Cypher.
Yeah, her replacement senator points really made me love this applicant this particular time she came in, which is different, and I don't believe she's brought this up before in other interviews. How she said that she faced communication barriers as a replacement senator, using her past experiences to fuel her new idea for how to educate replacement senators that come in who don't get to experience the new senator orientation. I think that's a spot where the information and communications committee is lacking just a little bit. So I think her bringing in that idea is going to be really good for this committee. And then as for specifically in her application, the Come Meet Your Senators event, that counts for tabling constituency, and the how-to Senate videos. Even last time when she came and interviewed, I did love both of those ideas, especially like making tabling a lot more interactive is something that we've been meaning to see in the Information and Communications Committee. So I see a lot of potential there.
Okay. Member at Large, Adiko.
I would like to add that her ideas, Majority Party Leader Sucker said, are, even though they're ideas that she's said in the past, it's specific to her ideas, and I really appreciate it because I've never heard ideas like that from other senators, and she's very passionate about these ideas. She's very passionate about these new ideas as well, and I love, what Majority Party Leader Sucker said, I loved the Meet the Senators tabling event. I think that's awesome, and I think that's really important for us as we're representing constituents that they come and speak to us.
I really appreciate my position.
All right,
Okay, I
Deputy.
don't have access to the forum thing, but for the Meet Your Senators, is that part of your tabling constituency? Because I know INC does control that. Is that how that would work?
I think she, let me see if she put it here. It's not on this, but I do remember that she noted, maybe it was not in this interview, but she did say that tabling needs to be more interactive.
Okay.
And so
my
I
only
assumed.
concern is that I remember under the old INC chair, Ghazali, thing. So he would always stress don't wear merch behind the table, try not to be partisan, but when you're tabling. And I fear that if it's a Meet Your Senators tabling thing, it's kind of gonna turn into well, I've done this. I've done so much more than the other party. Look how much I've done. I just think INC is one of the only committees we have that's nonpartisan. Truly, nobody is partisan on that committee because it's INC. Not to say that it doesn't do anything, but I do fear that would kind of steer away from what INC, the precedent that INC has set. The other thing I wanted to point out was how to Senate, how to blank Senate. It's kind of already happening with the PubCom thing. I know they're working on it for Parley Pro. But I would echo the sentiments of Minority Party Leader Pelton that I have nothing bad to say. I really don't about this candidate, except for those two little qualms that I had. I just do think that these ideas aren't particularly new.
All right, that marks 4 minutes. Now, sorry to cut you off. Now we can go ahead and move into deliberations on Senator Zarate.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
One day.
Okay. So we started. Okay.
Majority Party Leader Cipher.
Okay, so I'm gonna break this down into the interview and application. So in the interview, I'm going to touch on some of his ideas in a second. It was funny that he hijacked the interview question, but at the same time, because of that, given his interview, we don't really know what his motivation is because he didn't verbalize it to us, even though it is stated in the application. I think that it's really important to consider both the written application and the interview, which is why we get the application beforehand. And while I appreciate his ideas, there is an entire question dedicated to his ideas, so in my opinion he should have just answered the question. And as for the live stream Q&A with the senators, I understand what he's saying, but from how I took it, he wants this specifically to be for students to see how senators act under pressure with regards to their legislation. So I don't really understand why viewers can't just come to the Judiciary Committee meetings when they give presentations on their bills. And then lastly, organization collaboration with the Senate Instagram. This could be a fun idea, however, the SG Instagram as a whole doesn't do this, so I don't really see a reason why the Senate Instagram should do this, especially because public comments exist where people from certain organizations can come in and get the word out during the Senate meeting. And then for the application, I appreciate that the senator wants to increase transparency in the streaming process and showcase what Senate is doing to everyone. However, he does say that the Senate Instagram is never used. I would like to see it be a little more used, but I think they use it somewhat. But his ideas in the application, like last week, there's nothing especially new. And while the senator has really good motivation for being on this committee, their ideas are already being worked through by INC, which is what we said in the last meeting as well.
Deputy Minority Party Leader, an idea.
So yeah, I'm definitely not going to try to change your mind on the style of the interview. That definitely is your prerogative. I didn't really mind, but so that's I think if we're coming from a point of sheer novelty, this candidate has the most like novel ideas. And I know that you pointed out some of these things are in the works by INC. I think that was also true for other candidates presented for INC this time, just as like an overall precedent, if that's like kind of the thing that we're taking. But yeah, I think just in terms of novelty, like some of these ideas are definitely looking at them the biggest quantity, and they all do seem new. Things like I do agree that in some things we would be making like special exceptions on the Senate Instagram that aren't kind of the norm for SG, but with things like using the Instagram more for live streams and transparency, that is something that INC is currently looking into quite a bit, and many other members are on board with that. I think I definitely see the senator's point of nobody's checking like where the current live streams are, and kind of moving those over to Instagram would make things more accessible. But that's just my take on that.
Okay. Is there any other deliberation? Hearing none, we can go ahead and move into deliberation on Marianne Enriquez.
Okay, I'm starting now.
Minority Party Leader Pelton.
Yeah, I appreciate this applicant coming in. I'm not sure if this is the first time they've applied, but I really do appreciate the passion. However, it just felt to me that maybe some of the ideas have not been fully formulated and fleshed out yet. I hate continuing to use the term fleshed out, or like it's a horrible thing to keep saying, but the reality is, especially with this applicant, they truly do need to be fleshed out more, I think. Love spotlights for senators, we've done it in the past, we'd love to see it come back. How are we gonna do that, right? What exactly does that look like for this senator? I don't know. And so I would really appreciate if this applicant can be tabled, they come in next week and give us a little bit more insight as to how they plan to accomplish this on INC, which again, so many members have said this exact same thing and we still have not seen it happen. So I want to see how this applicant specifically hopes to make it happen. It's a lot of time saying the word happen. Anyway, that's it.
Majority Party Leader.
So as for like the flushed out ideas, I think that like her fully explaining like step by step exactly how she's going to do it is less of like the potential holdup with this that I see as a reason to table this applicant. I think that her motivations are in the right place for applying, and her technical skills about Instagram could be useful, but I think that the Senate in her application, how she stated Senate Instagram and Senator spotlights to make things more personal, it wasn't like that the ideas were not fleshed out as you stated, but it was more like the ideas weren't particularly new because INC had been working on them for a little bit.
Deputy Minority Party Leader Naidu.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I was gonna say I really like her passion, like and her motivation. She seems very passionate. Although it kind of seems like she just wants to be on a committee, maybe not necessarily like this one, but this one for a lot of people like they see as like the easiest to get onto. So I think like I like really appreciate her passion and that kind of thing. But considering like her ideas and stuff weren't like super specific, I do think like she could be better on a board committee.
Okay. Any other deliberation? Member at large, Dicula.
I would like to base my my sentiments based off the prior sentiments. I do believe she is passionate about joining a committee, but I also, looking through her application, I wanted to hear more about her ideas and more detailed ideas, because I'm going off based off my precedent. I believe that if you're coming in to bring ideas, I want like details and I want an understanding of what the idea is, and I haven't fully grasped that yet. So I do believe this applicant's passion should drive her to give more detail and then come back, because I want to hear more.
Any other deliberation? All right, hearing none, go ahead and move into deliberation on Blake Cox, Minority Party Leader
I am
Felton.
so excited to see almost everyone come in and apply for Senate President. Oh, sorry, off campus. I do have a couple things to say about Senator Cox. He did a great job in the Senate. I am genuinely concerned, simply because Senator Cox in particular, in his goodbye speech, stated that he was leaving because of how draining the Senate was. I do appreciate that he tried to address those issues in his application, but I don't want us to create a precedence that we can somehow bring people back after they've left and said that this has become too much for one person. We all know what it feels like being in the Senate in this room. It's not always a fun experience, and I think Senator Cox time and time again showed that that was, for him, absolutely one of the worst experiences of his own. That's almost verbatim what he said in his goodbye speech that we heard just a few months ago. So I'm very concerned about this applicant coming back once again. I think that all of the ideas that he brought were great, but it's things that have been touched on before. Mental health days, it's a resolution that's been passed multiple times. When it comes to budget stuff being fixed, he was budget chair, and those issues were not fixed in his time as budget chair. We still have yet to fix those things, and so, and then of course the fishing on campus, great idea. I don't really know how that's going to happen. If we use the same standards as to fleshed out ideas and all these things, and we also consider the fact that maybe there are other applicants who might genuinely have an interest in coming in and making a difference rather than coming back in after already saying they wanted to leave so bad, it might be good to consider those individuals instead. Not as a comparison, but simply purely as a precedence that other people should be considered rather than someone who has said publicly multiple times that they want to get out of Senate so bad. It's dangerous. So again, there's no, obviously, he's very qualified. There's no question about that. But I just don't see how someone can go from hating their experience in the Senate to wanting to come back so soon. I'm worried about him. I'm worried about him coming into the Senate, even though he says that he is prepared. So that's just something to consider during deliberations.
Majority Party Leader Cipher.
On that point, I do actually see how he can come back. As the person who essentially came up with last year, the mental health days, it was originally his idea. He wants to come back and help with that. I think that as someone who values mental health so much to the point of wanting to create an entire day for it at school or like multiple days, I don't actually know particularly what he had in mind, but I think mental health is really important to him. And I think that his decision to take a step back is totally valid. If he wants to come back, that's totally valid too. I don't think that we can discount his decisions if he did it to benefit his mental health. As for his qualifications for this position, he had Senate leadership over the summer. He regained his energy. He's ready to come back, work on his new ideas. I just enjoy that he had a really good balance between serious business and expertise with his fun ideas for the student body, like with a fishing pond. And he had like experience in Senate, particularly with Senate leadership. So like he served for 2 years. He's used to representing off campus. And the people who have experienced his leadership love him, as evidenced in the goodbye speeches by the opposing party.
Okay, Senator President Berger.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this applicant. I think that he's clearly ready to come back, as he stated. I think a more dangerous precedent is to not take people at their word when they say that they're willing to step back into a role. I think that not effectively banning people, but prohibiting them from coming back to the chamber after they've taken a break is much more problematic in my mind than the alternative.
Okay, moving into deliberation on Matthew Bravo. Is there anyone who would like to speak in deliberations? Deputy Minority Party Leader Naidu.
Can I just like address broadly like all the off-campus candidates?
Without comparison, yes.
Okay. I don't think anyone is really addressing off-campus issues. Everyone's kind of just talking about like stuff that they want to see happen.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Tell me if I'm out of line.
So, as long as you're not referencing specifically previous candidates who had the opportunity to deliberate on them.
Okay. Yeah, I think for the off-campus seat, like nothing has been provided in general in terms of like actually addressing off-campus issues. And obviously right now there's a very big problem with off-campus, given that there's an entire district that's pretty large that isn't being represented. And not necessarily to say like that someone doesn't live there, but I mean like there's a whole set of issues coming out of this very large part of off-campus. And no one's used to really be addressing it. So to go into this candidate specifically, like the funding model, and like that literally being the only idea, I just don't see how that relates to like the seat that's being applied for. And you can extend that reasoning to however you would like. I don't want to get too
Minority Party Leader Cypher.
Okay, so
Majority.
if people are applying for a Senate position generally for off-campus, it's because they value specific issues that they see as students. So, in my opinion, regardless of whether they're talking specifically about where they live or not, I think their role as students plays a larger role in their application than, their area. But specifically for Matthew Bravo, I did want to hear him elaborate more on his ideas or just provide some new ones that we aren't already touching on in Senate. I know that the specific organization funding thing that he's talking about is already being addressed by the Budget Committee, and it's been addressed a couple of times, like publicly and inside of budget meetings. So, that's already an issue that we're tackling.
Minority Party Leader Pelton.
I disagree with this notion that's been brought to the committee multiple times that somehow someone is qualified despite the fact that they have not addressed the issues that their constituents are requesting. I don't think that's a great idea and a great precedent to establish once again. Just because I'm a class senator, it doesn't necessarily mean that I can just go my entire term without addressing class issues and only addressing other issues. I was elected by class constituents to serve class constituents. And so, again, we need to hear off-campus ideas for off-campus senators, especially because it seems to me that a lot of off-campus issues have gone largely unaddressed by the 37 at-large district as of now. And so I do think it's extremely important for people to come in and address those issues if they're applying for that constituency. They want that constituency to entrust them in serving them and their issues, and so we have to make sure that that happens. Discussing specifically Bravo, I think it's already been stated, and I think where the committee is sort of leaning on this, but specifically discussing the funding model, we've talked about many times in the past, and wanting to create a committee to fix it. I don't know about the constitutionality of it all. There's already a budget appropriations committee that should be the one to bring this up, and the Senate at large. I'm not exactly aware of whether this is a great idea, especially because we already have Big Five budget hearings and other avenues for us to address these concerns that Mr. Bravo brought to our attention. And so I don't think that this individual is qualified, and I do think that all applicants, if they're applying for a constituency, should fit within the confines of representing that constituency and bring ideas that constituency would wish to see, because they are representing those individuals aside from all individuals in the Senate.
Okay. You have 5 seconds.
Yes, I want to know that different students have different issues. So the things that they might bring to the table are different depending on the person.
That ends deliberation. Do I hear any motions? Majority Party Leader Cypher.
I move to close the floor for deliberations.
All right. There's been a motion to close the floor for deliberations by unanimous consent. Do I hear any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes.
Okay. All right. I move to approve Annabella Vigna for the Information and Communications Committee seat by unanimous consent.
There's been a motion. There's
Okay,
been a motion.
follow-up?
Okay.
I remake that motion not by unanimous consent.
All right. There's been a motion to approve Annabella Vigna for the open information and communications seat. Is the clerk ready to take the roll?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Minority Party Leader Pelton.
No.
Okay. Member at Large Adicula.
Yes.
Majority Party Leader Cipher.
Yes.
Senate President Brinkman.
Yes.
And I will go ahead and abstain on that vote. In a vote of 3 to 1 to 1, that motion passes, and Annabella Vigna is approved for the information communication seat.
I have a follow-up.
Follow up.
Yes.
Give me
I'm-
1 second.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I move to table the open budget and appropriation seat by unanimous consent.
There's been a motion to table the open budget and appropriations committee seat by unanimous consent. Do I hear any objections? Hearing none, the motion passes.
Okay, follow-up.
Follow up.
I move to approve Blake Cox for the open off-campus seat by unanimous consent.
There's been
Object.
Okay, follow-up. I remake that motion not by unanimous consent.
all right. There has been a motion to approve Blake Cox for the open off-campus committee seat. Is the clerk ready to take the roll?
Yes.
Okay. Minority Party Leader Pelton.
No.
Member at Large Adicula.
Yes.
Majority Party Leader Cipher.
Yes.
Senate President Brinkman.
Yes.
And I will go ahead and abstain on the vote. In a vote of 3 to 1 to 1, that motion passes, and Blake Cox has been approved for the open off-campus Senate seat.
Okay.
Give me
follow-
1 second to adjust the agenda.
I'm just gonna add stuff to the agenda.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right. Minority Party Leader Pelton.
I move to strike Annabella Ingrassi from consideration for all 3 of the applicable constituencies or things that she applied for.
Okay. All right. There's been a motion to strike Annabella Ingrassi from consideration for any of the constituencies or committee seats that they had applied for by unanimous consent. Do we hear any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes.
Follow up.
Follow up.
I move to table the remaining open INC seat by unanimous consent.
There's been a motion to table the open INC committee seat by unanimous consent. Do I hear any objections? Hearing none, the motion passes.
Follow up.
Follow up.
I move to add all bills approved by the Judiciary Committee this week into bills under first readings by unanimous consent.
All right. There's been a motion to add all bills approved by the Judiciary Committee this week to bills under first readings by unanimous consent. Do we hear any objections?
It's all bills
Yeah.
approved by Judish this week into bills under first readings.
Okay. Hearing none, the motion passes.
Follow up.
Follow up.
I move to add all bills requiring a second reading to bills under second readings, bills under second reading by unanimous consent.
Do you want to clarify bills passed last week?
It's
For
any
first
bill
reading?
that's requiring second reading.
Okay.
That falls
Yeah.
within that.
All right. There's been a motion to add any bills requiring a second reading under second readings by unanimous consent. Do I hear any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes.
Follow up.
Follow up.
I move to add all bills referred to the committee, referred to our committee or to the Senate by other standing committees or ad hoc committees of the Student Senate to their respective place on the agenda by unanimous consent.
All right. There's been a motion to add bills referred to this committee to their respective place on the agenda by unanimous consent. Do I hear any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes.
Just point of
Point of-
information, does that include, I just want to make sure with the record that it is included that standing committees, any bills from standing committees is also there, so that includes like budget
Standing
bills.
committees and ad
Right,
hocs.
just want to make sure that
Yeah.
the
Okay.
record
Okay.
is clear that's the motion.
All right.
Cool. Follow up.
Follow up.
I move to add all approved and failed absences approved by the Rules and Ethics Committee to the agenda under the Rules and Ethics Committee report by unanimous consent.
All right, there's been a motion to add all approved and failed absences under the Rules and Ethics Committee report by unanimous consent. Do we hear any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes.
Follow up.
Follow up.
I move to set the time and place of the next Senate meeting for February 20th, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. in the Rights Union Senate Chamber by unanimous consent.
All right, there's been a motion to set the time and place for the next Student Senate meeting to February 20th at 7:30 p.m. in the Rights Union Senate Chamber by unanimous consent. Do we hear any objections? Hearing none, the motion.
Absence is a block. Is
Hearing-
it already a block?
No.
Rule on
Hearing,
this first.
hearing none, the motion passes.
Follow up.
Follow up.
I move to create a special rule to hear and vote on all approved and failed absences under the Rules and Ethics Committee report as a block by unanimous consent.
All right, there's been a motion to hear and vote all approved and failed absences under the Rules and Ethics Committee report as a block by unanimous consent. Do I hear any objections? Hearing none, the motion passes. Okay. Yeah. Let me just make sure we're getting everything. Second readings.
Last week, first readings, are they still just being
They should still be on the agenda because they're.
Yeah, well, they should now be
Yeah,
on
they should
under
be
first
good, right?
readings.
Yes.
Well, they have to be, according to the Agenda Reform Act. So.
Yeah. Okay.
What are we talking about under first read?
All the bills that were approved, the technical error from last week.
Oh,
Just want to
right,
make sure
right,
those are all on the agenda for this
Yeah.
week.
Way too many.
Legislation machine.
I think I'm gonna have 14 this week. I think that's the number.
And I'll fix the format and wording.
I believe that. Okay.
What up?
I just want to make sure that for next week, obviously, the judiciary seat and chair is open, so that should be on the agenda as well. After
Oh,
this, I
yeah.
mean, you'll have to
Yes,
announce
sir.
that this week, but
I announced
should
it
be on the
last week, I
agenda.
believe. After.
Right. I don't know if those. Yeah. Let me just. So, are all those bills that were not able to be heard last week on? Yeah, they are.
They are
Okay.
currently
Yeah, I
on
see
here,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome, and I'm glad to see them all in numeric order. Finally, it makes my eyes
Uh,
really perk up. Okay, and then you'll add the second readings as well.
And then I'll just.
Okay. Is there anything else? Anything there?
Yeah.
Everyone good?
I don't believe they're fine.
All right. Motion. I'm
Motion.
sorry. I move to approve the agenda by unanimous consent.
There's been a motion to approve the agenda by unanimous consent. Do we hear any objections? Hearing none, the motion passes. Okay, given that, I adjourn this meeting at 4 p.m.
That's probably the most efficient. All right.